Today on Community Cooking, we have local chef and owner of Hey 19 Public House in Torrance, Demi Stevens, back. She's making another great meal. It's Chrissy's night off, which means you're getting braised short ribs served with twice cooked potatoes and carrots. We're cooking with some of the best chefs from right here in our own community, so grab a seat and relax. We have another great meal for you. This is your Community Cooking. Hi, and welcome to Community Cooking. I'm your host, Maria Prakachis, and I'm super excited to have a return guest, Demi Stevens.
Hello.
How are you? And she even gave me an apron to wear. I love
The
it.
collection. You get the champagne.
I know. Well, kind of fitting.
Right.
You know me. I like my champagne. And I
I have hot sauce.
You are.
Fitting.
We're not going to have any fun today. Any fun at all. So first, tell me about Hey 19. That's how I like to say it.
You like to know it. It is a restaurant in Torrance, across the street from Cali Middle School and South High. We actually just got Best Burger in America.
Oh, I love
Which is
that.
really fun. And it is, I guess we would call it American Bistro. And then we have a really good cocktail selection. I'm kind of more known for the cocktails than I am for food, but the restaurant food end of it is actually really amazing and a lot of fun.
I love. Well, you're so much fun. You have so much energy. Owning a restaurant, you have to have that. My brother owns one, and he is just. You're not a spaz. He is. Love him. But you have to be hyper and have energy because there's so much work involved.
Yeah, and there's two restaurants,
Well,
so I have to go back and forth. We joke that I need to have a zip line between the two restaurants, or a little luge possibly, just to shoot right through.
Well,
So
tell me about the second restaurant.
the other one is Ortega 120, and that's on PCH, so that's kind of up here where the Grinch would live, and then Hey 19 is in Whoville. So yeah, 'cause
Lord.
you're kind of looking at the
Yeah.
two. So, and my house is in between, so it's a third of a
that's good.
mile and a third of a mile, but both uphill, which is kind of not fun.
Yeah, because like if your car breaks
In
down,
the snow.
forget it. Yeah. So why, we're going to get cooking to this fabulous recipe in a moment, but I have to get to know you better. And why restaurant? How'd you get started? What's your love for behind it all?
It's all I know. So there's, we were actually talking with some of the crew earlier that, the failure rate of restaurants isn't necessarily because of restaurants. It's because a lot of people, they make their money, selling Avon or whatever, and decide that they want to open a restaurant. And then you fail because it's a lot more work than people realize. For me, it's all I know. So I've been working in restaurants since I was 14. And cooking, started in the kitchen, and then I spent the rest of my life behind bars. Is how I can talk about
I'm
that.
like, wait, we shouldn't talk
20 years
about that.
behind bars.
Okay, I get it.
And then I started Ortega 120 is 10 years old now. And so it has weathered that storm, and Hey 19 is 4 years old. So they're a lot of fun. Hey 19 is actually a lot more in the way of local. This dish is actually named for a woman in the area.
It's not Maria Prakachis? What?
No.
Okay, next time.
Yeah.
So it's named after a woman in the area?
Yeah, so
Tell me
she came, she saw me. It's a very small community, that little area of Torrance. And so she saw me out in front talking to the previous owner. And when it was the other restaurant before me, it wasn't actually really a restaurant. It was a very divey bar. And I turned it into a restaurant. So the food is important. And so she saw me, and my son was at Seaside at the time. He's older now. My son was at Seaside, and she drove up next to me. And she rolled down the window, and she goes, I do this all the time. Nobody does this, to roll down the window anymore. It's my age.
We'll date ourselves.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And she said, hey, Demi, are you going to buy that, she cursed, restaurant over on Cali? And I said, yeah, I'm taking that. Are you going to serve food? I said, yes, I'm going to serve food. And she goes, okay, great. So Albert is her husband. He wants me to make pot roast all the time, and I don't feel like making pot roast. You think you put a pot roast on your menu? I said, okay. So her name is Chrissy, and in order for her not to have to make pot roast, I put it on the menu.
Well, I know. I'm like, who's Chrissy?
Yeah. So it's her night off. She doesn't have to make pot roast.
So,
I did it for
let's
her.
talk about their short ribs.
Correct.
Let's talk about the ingredients that goes into this dish.
Super, super simple. And it's more, as always with me, it's about the quality of the ingredient. So these are all Harris Ranch beef.
Ooh.
And so you're dealing with a humane, and the word no. A lot. So, you're not dealing with chemicals, et cetera, et cetera. But the humane process is what I'm more interested in. So it's a really high quality piece of meat. We're using a rice flour. 97% of my menu is gluten-free now because I have an issue. I'm one of those. Plenty of issues.
Well,
but
that's just
being
one.
the
We all have
smallest,
plenty.
right?
Yeah.
So this is a rice flour. And then we have a twice cooked potato. And there's a number of different ways we can do this. So I'm going to do it in a super easy way, but you can also do this in your slow cooker. I'm a big believer in those things.
Okay, I laugh. I've had a slow cooker. So is my boyfriend, both places, for about 4 years. I've used it once.
So having a hockey player at home, Hey 19 is named for my son's jersey number.
Oh, great. I was wondering. Okay.
So there's the song, the Steely Dan song, so it kind of all worked out. The name of the restaurant kind of it was a scramble. It was a difficult purchase. There were a lot of liens, et cetera, on the property. And so when I finally ended up getting it, my attorney called and he's like, yeah, you have it. And I'm like, okay, do I have the license? What exactly do I have? And he said, no, you have the whole thing. I need a DBA. And I was like, oh, okay, give me a minute. So I said, give me 24 hours. And I went on Facebook before it became Politics Book. And I was just trying to empty my brain. And there was a picture of my son standing next to the Stanley Cup. And somebody said, Hey 19, don't touch the cup. And I said, okay, there we go. Because it's a nostalgic song. And it's also for my son.
Oh,
so,
I love it.
Yeah.
So, and talk about, so the ingredients are simple, the spices and whatnot that we're going to put on there.
So easy on the spices. We have,
Because it's such a great quality meat.
we have the rosemary. We have, we had thyme, but I think it's mixed in with that. And then garlic and shallots. This is a Cajun seasoning. You can pretty much use any of the Cajun seasonings. And then salt and pepper, the most overlooked ingredient in a lot of kitchens. They either do too much in the way of salt, but salt and pepper is, I think, in my opinion, really crucial to something going out properly.
All right. Well, how do we get
And then we have our little moi pois over there. So just the carrots.
Sure, what she said.
Yeah, carrots, celery, and onions. I have an amazing kitchen staff. And so this morning when I went to go pick everything up, they had already cut everything for me.
We
I was like, but wait, I need to cut some. And so they're like, here's a carrot.
That's awesome.
So,
I love it.
Yeah, they're wonderful. And so this is one of those things so that you can put in just a pot on your stove. You can do it the way that I'm going to do it. You can do it in a slow cooker.
Okay.
And you're good to go.
But start with good meat.
Your quality of your meat is really, really important. And for these, what we do is we'll put them in olive oil, salt, and pepper, and we're leaving them in those before we hit the braise. And so it will have been in that for at least 12 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that'll help us just to kind of seal in all of our juices, et cetera.
yum.
And that's really the purpose of the braise.
Okay.
So that's, where we go with that.
Oh, yum.
Yeah.
So what is, I don't know my cuts of meat very well. I trust, get a really good butcher.
This is just a regular chuck.
Okay. Because I was like, what's a short rib? I
Yeah.
order them all the time.
Well,
I love them.
I'm bringing a chuck, but we're in the end of it, you can use this recipe with your most inexpensive cuts of meat as well because of how long you're going to cook it for.
Well, we were talking before the show. I just discovered, I shouldn't say it, but chuck eye, which is the
Right.
poor man. Someone said ribeye or filet because it comes out, and that is a good
Yeah,
cut of meat.
sometimes they call them baseballs, things like that.
Yeah.
They have all kinds of different names for different cuts of meat now. And even for me, I've been in this business a long time. I'm like, what do you
Oh, yeah, no, I go to the butcher
Google.
and he takes the picture of the cow and he's
Right.
like, that's what you're eating. Do you want to eat that? I'm like, no, let's move on. What else
Right.
do I want?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
So it's great. But
yeah. It can be a little bit, but they have all these different names for everything now.
Yeah.
So for the purposes of making this at home, if it's on sale, go for it.
I like it. I like it. So we want a very hot pan.
Super hot.
Super
Yeah.
duper hot.
Yeah, very hot, like
Very
16
hot, yeah.
candles, right? Yeah, we're pretty close on this one.
I love it. You know, you can tell a great chef because they're like, is it hot enough?
Well, we joke around about my kitchen hands because I'll literally put my hands in and
know,
flip
don't do
pieces
that
of meat
today.
over. So,
Don't do that.
It freaks people out a little bit.
In all the years of the show, I've only set one fire.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, only one.
Yeah,
It
that's
was-
awesome.
The oven was on broil and not bake, and yeah,
You're good to go.
flames were out.
I'm going to go ahead and try on this one
Okay.
real quick and see if I have.
Yeah, how do you see if it's hot enough? If you put a little oil in?
Well,
and
it's just on my touch. I'm just trying to cheat right now to get it because I moved it while we were talking. So we'll go ahead and just use
A
this
little
real
butter?
quick. Yeah.
Just a
I'm a
little
big
butter.
believer in butter. Very big believer in butter. And the little salt trick to keep your temperature down a little bit so that
Oh,
you
I
don't
didn't know
hit your
that.
smoke points.
See, because I
You
grew
can
up
use
on,
an oil if you
Yeah.
want to. You don't have to.
but
For what
butter-
we do in the restaurant, we do, it's the same recipe every single time. But if you want to do it at home, you can completely add all kinds of different randoms to
Yeah.
to what I'm doing.
I like it. And I always tell people, she's in the you've been in the restaurant business a lot of years.
35
you're
years.
Chef, you know a lot of things. But if you're at home, just try.
Oh shoot! You know what I forgot to do?
Oh, we've got to flour it.
I forgot to
We got the
flour it.
chit-chatting. So you flour it and rice
Just real
flour,
quick.
you said.
This is rice flour. Now you have to be careful with that. When you see a braised piece of meat, if you're somebody who has food allergies, 9 times out of 10 it has been in a wheat flour. So if you see the word braised, you need to ask the question.
Yeah, and so many people, you developed a gluten allergy,
Late in life.
later in life, which is crazy. And so many people are gluten-free. Plus, they just have decided to go gluten-free.
Right. For me, it's not a stomach issue. It's a I can't breathe issue.
Yeah.
And that's,
So we're
kind of
using
important.
rice flour today. I'm sure you made sure of that. That's a little
Well,
scary.
breathing's important.
Yeah, breathing's
Yeah.
important. I'm just saying.
And this is super easy. So it's just on a really high temp so that I'm
Okay.
just really quickly just searing it. I'm not going to
we
go
love easy here.
overboard, and I'm not going to scare you by just shoving my hands in here because I do
I don't
that.
get scared very easily. My brother, it's funny, you said you have to really grow up in the restaurant industry to be a restaurateur. He did not. We're Greek, so a lot of our relatives had restaurants, and he worked in them forever. So he did grow up in it, but he was, a businessman. And
Yeah.
he learned so much from my uncle who had a restaurant, who was very successful. And he sees these people now. Some people, I'm going to go open up a restaurant. And
Yeah.
he goes, well, did you get the cost of this, and he, like you, knows the cost to the penny of every single
I
thing.
can tell you
in your
exactly how
plate.
much a straw costs.
Oh, yeah. He's
Yeah.
like, you know how much an 8-ounce beer costs to me? And if it's this beer or this, and because he has a pub, and it's not for everyone. Who wouldn't want to open a restaurant? Oh, it's fun.
Well, you
get
have to like
entertained.
people.
Well, that's
I've
it.
said that before. It's really important to like people.
Yes.
Because it is often it's the people that you're dealing with that are going to make it that you even want to deal with the restaurant.
Well-
And I'm really lucky because we have such a wonderful community in Torrance, and people are really, really nice, and they're very supportive, and it's female owned. I
Yeah.
don't have any partners. I have investors, but I don't have any partners. And so people are just really like, yay, very supportive and very pro Torrance. And so I'm
Yeah.
really lucky.
Well, and it's just so, and you have to have, like I said, the energy and just the smarts. I used to love...
I fake the smarts part, but I have the
You
stamina.
fake it well. And it is. I just look at him, I'm like, how do you know all that? And then we get to talking, I'm like, how is all that in your cute little head?
It falls out.
Falls out one ear, gotta plug it out.
Exactly.
I love it. So we braise.
So I put it into. I just
Okay.
put it into a
Oven-safe
baking
dish,
dish.
okay.
Right. That's easy peasy. You can do a couple of different things at this point from home. So you
Okay.
can take your veg and put them into here, soften them up and put them in,
Okay.
or you can just put it all in along with a jus and
Bless you. Have it.
and put the whole thing in the oven. And then once your carrots are done, you know that your meat is done.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break and then start with the carrots, celery, and onions, and twice baked potatoes? Not how
Twice
you would
cooked,
think,
yeah.
twice cooked potatoes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're watching Community Cooking.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end and it at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Community Cooking. If you're just joining us, I'm with the fabulous Demi Stevens from Hey 19. That's how you got to say it every time you come in the restaurant now. Demi, Hey 19. And of course, Ortega 120. So we just braised the short ribs in rice flour.
Right.
And I want to stress to everyone, if you see something braised on a menu, you said if you're gluten-free, ask. Because usually it's in wheat flour.
Right.
But you use rice flour, which I love. How'd you get the name? We talked about Hey 19. How'd you get the name for Ortega 120, if I could say?
Ortega is my partner over there. I have a partner at Ortega 120. His name's Tom Ortega, and so Ortega is his last name. 120 originally was an address, and we had kind of shopped a few different locations, and we ended up here in Redondo. We are 50 feet out of Torrance over there, which is really funny. So we turned it into 120 tequilas because I happen to be, we joke and say that tequila follows me like a rabid chihuahua. So
why wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Hello?
I've been dealing with tequila since the mid-90s. And so I teach Tequila University, and I teach, Brown University too, which is about bourbons, whiskeys, and ryes.
Yeah.
And then I teach Tequila University at Ortega 120.
Oh, I love finding out where names came from and all that. That's so fun.
So that's what it was. Yeah.
A good tequila I can drink, so you'll have to educate me. All right, so the meat is braised.
Yes.
And now we're going to add the rest of the goodies.
Correct. So we have already boiled the potatoes.
Okay, and they're just boiled?
That's it. Again, my staff is so incredible. They're trying to make everything so that, oh, Mama, you can just take it. Like, no, I have to actually cook. So they
I'm
did
just
put.
eating one because I put a little salt and pepper on. They're quite delicious as is.
They have the shallots in here. They have some butter in here. But I'm going to actually put some garlic into this one. And we're going to.
They're good just like this, but I know you're going to make them even better. I just sit and eat and watch.
Just, really easy. I just am a big believer in making everything at home super easy. It's kind of like with bartending. I don't think you should buy your own BS with any of it. Just go in, have a good time, and cook,
Well, and I always, you have people that are like, you must drink red wine with meat and white wine with fish or chicken.
Right.
I've met people, they're like, drink what you
like.
want.
Yeah.
Don't be embarrassed. I had a big cowboy order a white Zinfandel once, and I'm like,
with
excuse
ice?
me? No, that'd be me. But he was like, white Zin, and his wife ordered, martini straight up, and I'm like, okay, how does that work?
Yeah. It's, people ask me that often with reference to tequilas or whiskeys and bourbons. And at Hey 19, because of my relationship with tequila, I have a lot of people ask me what to do American food-wise with tequila. And so I actually did a big dinner with Patron, and I have my own barrel of Patron, which is really fun.
Oh, that's cool.
And so we did a big dinner against American food with the tequila. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that would be
But my statement,
Drink what you like.
yeah, if you like it, have at it.
Yeah.
If you're having a good time with it and you like the way it tastes, then go for it.
So
that's just the
garlic
and butter, easy peasy again.
It's even browning a little, and then you add a little salt. That's the trick to keep the.
Teeny little bit of pepper. This is that Cajun.
We like it spicy. Well,
Yeah,
I do. The
like
crew
it
has to put up with
spicy.
me. I'm like, yes, add more spice, and they're like, woo.
They already did the shallots in here, so if I
Okay.
do more, so shallot.
I know. For the longest time, I'm like, shallot? What is it? And I like them because I love onions, but they have to be really well cooked for me to eat them. But shallots don't. They're definitely more mild. And you just put the potatoes in whole.
Yep. Again, I'm a single mom. I have 3 kids.
And 2 restaurants. Not quite sure how you do it, but
Well, and then food. I travel a lot. As I told you, I have a couple of food companies out of state, and so I like to buy, baby carrots. I like to buy peewee potatoes, and then I just start shoving stuff into things because I'm busy. But you have to feed your children. There's like some rules about that. So,
yeah, there are to keep it out of jail. Yes, there are.
So like I said, these have already been boiled once, and so you have a nice softness to them. You can see it in the...
But they're not crumbling.
No,
Yeah.
they're just nice. I'm going to do it with that, so
Yeah.
you see you're golden.
Oh, no, I love the little potatoes.
So
and
it
all
gives
the
you a
different
little
colors.
crispiness to it,
Okay.
and I just want it to be a little bit crispy, just for me.
And
then I'm
for
going to
me.
pour it over the top of this.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, but
And then-
wait, there's more.
You can add these in however you want.
Okay.
So for us, we soften them a little bit before we put them into the oven. You don't have to. So you can put them straight into this, cover it with foil if
Yeah.
you want to, and just walk away.
I like the sauteing part, to soften them, and like I said, onions I like done, more done. But butter in the pan, I just think it would give them a little more flavor.
I'm actually going to use the butter that's sitting in there.
Yeah.
And then this is a little bit of a jus, so just like a beef bouillon.
Yeah.
Okay?
See, okay, I do my hack in the kitchen, I always say I cook with 5 things. And I use chicken broth for everything. Like I'll saute mushrooms and they're better with butter and olive oil and all that, but
And
if
the same with mashed potatoes.
Oh yeah, no, I use chicken broth, so just like you use the au jus here. A little bit of butter and the au jus.
And I'm not a big person on having a huge amount of acid inside of my veg. Now, I will go toe-to-toe with people on that one. So I actually just asked for an update on some menu items, and one of the employees wrote in different vinegars onto some dishes that...
Yeah.
And so it was a really kind of heated conversation, not angry, but kitchen conversation of me saying, no acid, no acid, no acid on that. So I feel like you kind of have to, it's a little bit of a personal preference, but there are a lot of people that are not big on vinegars.
Yeah, see, I
and
drink them
acids.
straight,
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't.
And hot sauces,
Yeah.
So I like a lot of hot sauce and that kind of stuff. But I don't like it in my collards. I don't like it on my Brussels sprouts. I don't like it on any of my green veg.
Well, and it's just personal preference, and both your restaurants are successful, and I always have to ask, how do you think of menu items?
Well, for Take 120, that was Tom. So
Okay.
he did the food, and I do all the alcohol and operations. And then with Hey 19, I had. It was a really fun menu because it was really collaborative.
Oh, that's fun.
So we had a number of different chefs that I've been friends with over the years. Everyone contributed, then I contributed myself. So we do a lot of different things, and I feel like it's a really interesting menu because there's been so much input on it. My original menu was myself, a young chef named Armando Garcia, and a guy named Ben Udave. And between the three of us in a hair salon, while I was trying to cover the grays 3 days before we opened, we're still going through the menu.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful for them. And then we've had different people come along the ways. We actually have a dish on the menu. It's a lamb dish. It's called the Hendrickson. It's named for a chef named Roy Hendrickson, he's an exec down in San Diego. And it's his recipe, so we just named it after him. Everything on the menu is named for something. So.
I love it. All right, so we just barely got the veggies in. Look at how
So we just
gorgeous
softened them up.
It smells so good, and it's not even done.
Yeah. And then we're just going to throw that in the oven. And again, you can do it in different ways for yourself. If you want to cover that, you can cover it. You don't have to. You can put it in a skillet. You can put it in your slow cooker. You're just worried about the ingredient.
Yeah, and like you said,
I'm converting from restaurant to house is what's going on.
which is
in my
great
brain.
because I mean, sure, of course, go into your restaurant, but
And you can also do that almost exactly the same with chicken breast if you want to.
see, I love it. All right, well, we're gonna pop this in the oven. Of course, the beauty of TV. You
Yeah,
brought
Magic
one already
TV.
ready.
I did make one already.
Oh my gosh, it smells so good. I think that's going to take just a couple more minutes, the one in the oven. So it's a great time for a break. And we come back. Of course, it's my favorite part, the tasting. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Community Cooking.
I like to eat apples and bananas. I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
1 in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Community Cooking. This smells so delicious. Thank you. I mean, Hey 19, Ortega 120, you have to go visit just to see you. Because you're so much fun.
Thank you.
Okay, enough talking. I have to taste this.
Hop right in.
I'm getting a little of the au jus. I'll take my little knife and cut off a piece. I won't put the whole thing in my mouth. Lord knows I could. I'm just digging in. How's that for a bite?
Yeah. Super
I'm just
simple.
gonna sit here. The flavorings, the vegetables from the meat kind of infuse, but it's not like I'm eating a piece of meat with carrot juice on it.
Right.
But with that little bit of butter and the veggies just liven that up even more.
Yeah. And you have to remember to salt and pepper, salt and pepper, salt and pepper.
Oh, okay. Now I'm trying a potato here because I love my potatoes.
And I finished all of that with the, so before we're plating it, it's got salt, a little bit of pepper, and a little bit of Cajun over the top of it.
Oh, so there we were.
And when you cook your vegetables like this, there's absolutely no calories. Zero.
Well, we'll just eat them all. No, I just want this whole thing. The crew's getting none of this, sorry. Thank you so much. You're such a
No
blast to
worries.
have in the
Thank
kitchen.
you. Thanks for having me.
And I love how you take everything from your restaurant but make it user-friendly for home.
Well, yeah, well, that's the idea, so you can actually cook it at the house. And if you have a problem, you can call me.
Her number is 555. I love how they do it on the TV show. Thanks again on behalf of Demi, myself, and the entire crew. Thank you for watching. And remember, we really do have some of the best chefs right here in our own community. We'll see you next time on Community Cooking. I need another bite of that.
If you'd like a copy of the recipes seen on this show, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to the Office of Cable and Community Relations. That's 3350 Civic Center Drive, Suite 200, in Torrance, California, 90503. Be sure to note the show number displayed on the screen. And don't forget, you can find all the fresh ingredients used on today's show at the Farmers Market. Visit the one here in Torrance at Wilson Park. That's located at 2200 Crenshaw Boulevard. They're open every Tuesday and Saturday from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m., rain or shine. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us at communitycooking@torranceca.gov and check us out online at youtube.com/TorranceCityCable and like us on Facebook at Community Cooking TV.